This one thing kills speed in your fret hand, and most guitar players aren't even aware that they're doing it. Today I'm going to show you a simple fix for the main culprit of slow chord changes and slow fret hand passages, and exercises that you can use to make them stick. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Serson. It rhymes with person. I've helped thousands of guitar players like yourself over the past 13 years improve their abilities, and know that you'll take your playing to the next level if you try out what I'm about to show you. In one of my first lessons with my first guitar teacher, while I was playing through a piece and struggling with some of the chord changes, he looked at me and said, "Ah, you got a case of 80s shred hand." Me, looking at this man blankly, "What's 80s shred hand?" And he went on to explain that guitarists in 80s music videos have their hands flying all over the fretboard. Now this was news to me at the moment, but it turns out you're not supposed to do that if you want to play harder material. But don't worry, because I can assure you that fixing it is actually quite simple. All you have to do is tilt your hands so that your knuckles are parallel with the bottom of the guitar neck. Easy enough, right? But there's two other problems that you have to solve next, and they're both related to bad habits on the guitar as a test of willpower. They're usually pretty straightforward things to correct, like moving your hand from here to here. But the thing is, you've likely been playing guitar in a certain way, in a certain posture for a while, and now you have to remember to actively change it. But if you follow this next thing, you'll get there as painlessly as possible. The first thing you have to fix is posture, and not in that I'm a teacher telling you to sit up straight sort of posture. Instead, guitar posture is all about keeping your wrists straight and your fingers in equal distance from the strings without stressing your body out. Where most people go wrong when they think about posture is they try to manipulate their body into weird positions and into a certain way to get this to happen, and then they decide that proper posture isn't for them. So try this out instead. Find a way to sit comfortably and get your hand on the guitar neck and your fingers all the same distance from the strings. If you're unable to keep your wrists straight while you're doing this, move your guitar around until you can keep your wrists straight and be comfortable with this at the same time. If you're not comfortable, you're not going to practice for very long, right? What I'm about to show you next are my two favorite exercises for taking care of 80s shred hand. They'll fix any issue that you're having with your fret hand, and they'll make your fingers more agile if you stick with it. Your results will be different than mine, but it took 3 weeks of practicing the second exercise I'm about to show you every day for about 3 weeks, and then about 9 months of keeping on top of it until my hand went from this to this every single time without having to think about it. First exercise goes something like this. Place all 4 of your fingers on your fret hand on the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th frets on the G string. Try to be as relaxed as possible, only putting down just enough pressure that your 4 fingers combined press the string down. Now here's the tricky part. Without moving your other fingers and without moving the rest of your hand, you're going to play the A string in the 5th fret, the B string in the 5th fret, the low E in the 5th fret, and the high E in the 5th fret. If any of your fingers lifted up, or if your hand moved, start over and start slower. Once you've gotten this down at any speed, you're going to put your first finger back down on the G string, and then lift up only your second finger. And then we're going to repeat the exercise with your second finger. And again, the goal is to do this at any speed without lifting up your other fingers that are pressed down on the G string and without moving your hand. Once you're able to do that with your middle finger, we're going to repeat this with your ring finger. And then last, we're going to repeat the exercise with our pinky. If this was a challenge, repeat this exercise daily, but spend no more than 5 minutes on it. If that felt easy though, you're ready to move on to the second exercise, which is the one that got the big breakthrough for me. But before I walk you through that second one, if you're the type of person who forgets to practice technique, I walk through a new technique exercise every week with people inside of Good Morning Guitar, and oftentimes these technique exercises will fix problems that you didn't even know that you had with your guitar playing. If you'd like to give it a try without signing up, there's a link for a free class pass in the description. Now this next one is my favorite exercise for fret hand dexterity, and I usually have to soften it because when I show it to people, most of the time they're like, absolutely not. It goes something like this. We're going to set fingers 1, 2, 3, and 4 on frets 5, 6, 7, and 8 again, just like what we did in the last exercise. But what you're going to do is you're going to lift up fingers 1 and 2 this time. And what you're going to do is finger 2 will play the 6th fret on your A string, and finger 1 will play the 5th fret on the A string. While that finger 1 is holding down the A string, you're going to move your middle finger down to the B string, play that note, and then once the B string note is ringing, you're going to move your first finger down to play the note behind it. Middle finger comes up to the low E string, first finger catches up to it, and then middle finger goes down to the high E string, first finger catches up to it. The goal of this exercise is to do it 2 times in a row, don't break the sound, and don't lift up your other fingers that are on the string. With this exercise, there's 6 different combos that you can practice. 1 and 2 like we just practiced, fingers 2 and 3, fingers 3 and 4, fingers 1 and 3, fingers 1 and 4, and fingers 2 and 4. Unless you already have a really diligent practice routine that covers everything in great detail, there's a good chance that one of those 6 combos gave you a hard time. And that's actually great news, because now that you're aware of it, you can make changes to your practice routine and fix it. And once you do, your fret hand dexterity will skyrocket. And now that you know all about the number 1 thing killing fret hand speed, you might be wondering what the number 1 thing is that kills right hand speed, which you can learn all about in the next video.